Welcome to the Fred and Mo Show. Today we just gonna jump right into it. Alabama versus Clemson, man. Alabama versus Clemson. Was this an upset, man, or was Alabama set up?
I'm gonna go by what I said last week, man. I think Alabama was set up. They definitely had everything in their favor going into the game. Definitely the favorite or whatnot, but Clemson came with the eye of the tiger. Mm-hmm. They came with the eye of the tiger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, do I think it was an upset? Absolutely not. I think the best team won. Like we both said last week, man. Like you predicted Clemson to win.
Right.
You was right, man.
Most definitely.
But in my heart as a Bama fan, man, I kind of knew, when a couple of comments I made last week about, how we have to win up front,
right,
things like that. Hey, man, we didn't get it done. And Clemson came out, man. I think, man, Clemson felt like, man, they had more to prove than what Alabama had to prove. You know what I mean? They felt like I think they felt as if they weren't supposed to be there in the public eye.
Right.
I don't see how, because they were undefeated just like Alabama.
True.
It definitely wasn't an upset, man. It was just, hey, man, the best team won. That's it, man. The best team won.
What you saying, the best team won? How does that translate into the grand scheme of things when it comes to Alabama just being a perennial favorite year in and year out? I think right now they have Alabama ranked number 2 going into the next season and Clemson number 1. So when I think of the best team winning, I still feel as if Alabama should have won the game. I don't think they stuck with their game plan.
Well, honestly, man, we haven't stuck with the game plan all year. If you go back to the traditional Alabama football, with that new quarterback coming in, man, with Tua coming in, man, and having the God-given abilities that he have, Alabama was able to open up the offense a little more this year. And honestly, man, I don't think that's what hurt us. Man, defense killed us. They killed us. Hey, last week, man, I told you got to win in the trenches. You got to win in the trenches. Man, Clemson O-line kept our D-line off of Trevor, man, all night. But Tua was out there scrambling to fight for his life. Man, Trevor, man, that freshman quarterback, man, picked us apart.
So let me ask you this, okay? Did Trevor Lawrence outplay Tua?
Trevor Lawrence definitely outplayed Tua. Trevor Lawrence won. He was holding up the trophy. Yeah, he outplayed Tua. Tua had, one pick. Man, the DB just made a great play. That first pick of the game, man, he just made a great play. And man, I think 9 out of 10 times he won't make that pick again, because it was just so quick. Normally when you see guys react to the ball like that, it bounce off their chest or something, because man, he just made a great play.
Hell of a play.
That second pick, man, Tua just got baited. He got baited, man. He was going for it all, trying to make something happen, which I don't fault him for that. He was trying to make something happen, man, at a crucial time of the game. But Trevor seemed like he was more poised. He seemed like he was playing with more confidence during that game, man. He was making plays. Man, Clemson killed us on third down. Killed us on third down.
I'm going to give you my assessment. At the beginning of the game, I felt as if Tua was a more poised quarterback, even though he threw the pick. He came to the sideline. He told the guys, hey, it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back out the following drive and throws a touchdown pass, almost to insinuate, hey, man, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. Meanwhile, freshman quarterback, Lawrence, he comes out. I think they go 3 and out that first drive. They don't move the ball. They end up punting, right? And to me, he seemed like he was kind of bothered a little bit, But as the game progressed, you can tell once he got lathered up, man, the dude started playing with so much confidence. It seemed like every time he read that defense, he was able to find an open guy. And once they were able to score at will, it seems like Alabama just didn't have a chance after that.
Didn't. We didn't come out and punch them in the mouth early, man.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do that. And as we both said before, man, Clemson are one of those teams that you do not want to get into a shootout with. Man, they have athletes all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
That Trevor Lawrence, man, was he supposed to put up the numbers and do the things that he did? Man, I don't think so. Not against the Alabama defense, being a true freshman
Right.
on the biggest stage in college football. But, man, he proved that he was ready. And, man, we got to deal with this dude for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, by the time the game was over with, I do feel as if Clemson was a better team. When you look at the way that they were able to put points on the board, you know, they were able to throw the ball effectively. Running game was off the chain. You know, that running back actually, in my opinion, is what gave Trevor Lawrence the confidence to throw the ball down the field and be so successful on third down, because he knew he had a powerful running game.
I said it, man, weeks and weeks ago. Etienne Jr. was the best back in college football. I said it weeks ago, man. You don't hear about him a lot because Clemson passing game is so strong.
Right.
You know, they would throw the ball all over the field, man. They numbers are through the roof, man. When you look at the end of the game, the stats, man, it's crazy numbers. But, man, when that guy gets the football, man, it's guaranteed 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards every time he touches it. Man, he one of the most explosive backs I haven't seen in college football in a long time.
With that being said, Tua versus Hurts for next year. I don't know if it's true or not. I kind of heard that Jalen Hurts may have put in some transfer paperwork. I don't know if there's any validity to that. Can they go another season on the same roster?
Man, it's more behind that story than Tua and Hurts. Nick's getting ready to be put in a tough situation. You got Tua. You got Jalen. Tua's little brother's coming in. Bear Bryant's grandson, who's 6'5".
Did you say the Bear?
Bear Bryant's grandson.
His grandson?
Hewitt Trustfield High School in Birmingham.
Okay.
Close to Birmingham. He's coming in. Man, they say this guy's a ball player. They say he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, man, coming out of high school right now. And with the last name, Bryant, being Bear Bryant.
A lot of pressure that goes along with that.
Hey, man, Nick's going to have a decision to make. So I think, you know, I don't know if going into the spring is just going to be solely Tua's job. I think it's going to be a wide open quarterback competition. And, you know, next year it may not be either one of those guys lined up under center for Alabama.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't, as I said on the last week's show, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. You know, now that these guys have potentially 4 5-star quarterbacks, you know, for most folks that would be a good position to be in. But, you know, at the end of the day, in my opinion, I believe that's actually what kind of hurt them this year. You know, no pun intended, but those guys had an opportunity, in my opinion, to win a game using old Alabama football, running the ball downhill. I think Jalen Hurts was a better fit for this game.
I feel the same way. Now, it's just something look, you can't do that. That's just something you couldn't do right then. Like, you couldn't just start the football game off with Jalen.
Right.
You couldn't. But once things started going the way they did, the same way they made that switch against Georgia from going from Jalen to Tua to get that spark, I think they should have made that switch. Now, to the coaching staff's defense, maybe they felt like they were so far behind. I think we went in at the half down 15. Maybe they felt like we're so far behind, they got to come out and score quick. And Tua does give us the best opportunity to put up points quick.
Right.
But Jalen's ability to not only use his legs, but he can throw a little bit now. You know what I mean? That could have changed a lot for us. Man, I think Alabama got in the red zone, man, damn near every drive that they put together and wasn't able to punch it in. You know, that would have been a good time for Jalen to come in the ball game. That would have been a good time because we could have used his legs. That would have gave us another runner back there. You know, also been a good time to get them Harris boys off the field and get Josh Jacobs in the football game. I said it, man, Josh Jacobs. And it seemed like every touch he had, man, was effective. Every touch he had, it was positive. But we kept running the Harris boys. Like, I can't question Nick Saban, man. That's the greatest of all time, man.
Is he?
Nick Saban is the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
Okay.
But he did do some questionable things, man, in this ball game. The fake field goal on 3rd and 6,
right.
where you run your backup quarterback as the kicker, as the lead blocker on a 3rd and 6.
Didn't understand that one.
Keep your offense on the field, man.
Right.
That's it. I don't know. Maybe Nick. I mean, I think Dabo scared him, man. I think Dabo scared him, Fred. I think Dabo scared him.
Well, I tell you what, watching the post-game interview, you know, when you see how energized and excited Dabo was, if you watch him during the game, you can definitely tell that Dabo was not intimidated of Nick. And I think a lot of these coaches go into games against Nick Saban, you know, with the intimidation factor lurking behind them. Mm-hmm. You know, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama and Clemson have played, 3 times?
This is the 3rd time, right?
And Dabo's beaten them twice.
Right.
So in essence,
well, this was their 3rd time playing for the national championship. It was their 4th time playing. They're actually 2-2 because we played them last year in the first round of the playoffs.
Gotcha. Okay. So as far as championship games, they played 3 times. Dabo has won twice. Mm-hmm. So as far as championship games, Dabo is one up on Saban. He's probably the only coach in collegiate sports that can say that they've beaten Nick Saban more in championship games, right?
Right.
So does Dabo own Nick?
No one owns Nick Saban when it comes to college football, man. Nick Saban has 6 national championships, man. He's won 5 at Alabama, 1 at LSU. He's there consistently. Did Dabo own Nick last Monday night? Of course. Like you said, man, Dabo, just the energy. Right. Dabo knew he had him, man, before the game started, I think. Did you see, man, that first pick that Tua threw and they got a pick 6 on? Man, I saw Dabo over there like, you know.
It's almost like he picked the ball off himself.
Yeah, and it was like, man, we got him.
Right.
We got him. That's all we needed was to come out, jump out first on him. And he put his foot on his throat, man. Nick was over there looking all frustrated and down while Dabo was over there having a good time with his team, man, and just steady raking them up. Does he own Nick on overall picture because he beat him twice? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nick has been in more. He's been in the dance more than Dabo had. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know if it's getting ready to be a dynasty change or whatever, because Clemson, we got killed by 2 true freshmen with Ross and Lawrence. Ross out of the state of Alabama chose to go to Clemson. Right. Killed us. Clemson's D-line, man, I think they have only, 1 senior, maybe 2 seniors on that D-line. I mean, they got a lot of guys coming back, and they finished top in the recruiting class. Right. Before it's all said and done, Dabo may own Nick. That's what I'm saying. He may.
Clemson's definitely going to be a problem, you know, for the next several years, especially if the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, stays healthy. That offense seems like it should only get better, in my opinion. All right, so, all right, man. Well, definitely, you know, man, congratulations to the Clemson Tigers. You know, it's always a huge accomplishment when you go in as an underdog and you come out as a top dog. So, you know, definitely shout out Clemson Tigers. You know, we definitely don't want to underappreciate what Nick Saban has been able to accomplish, even in loss. I think sometimes, you know, man, you know, you're at the top of your game, you lose once, and all of a sudden the world turns their back on you. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't do that on this show, man. You know, we give credit where credit is due, and Nick Saban, although they may not have won the national title, we still give those guys credit.
Definitely.
All right, so let's go into transition in the NFL playoffs. You have a chance to watch the games over the weekend? I know you did.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch every one of them, man. And things kind of went as expected.
Okay.
I want to start out with that. Let's just go right to it, man. That Cowboys-Rams game. Let's go right to it.
Look, man, if I wouldn't have went for the Cowboys, they probably would have won.
I feel the same way.
You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a Cowboys hater, but I'm just not a bandwagon fan. I wanted those guys to win. I really do.
Me too.
We kind of got a Texas-Cali rivalry going all the way from, professional sports all the way down to youth sports. So, I'm pulling for the Texas team. The Cowboys disappointed me. It seems like every chance that they have to take a couple of steps forward, they end up taking 3 steps backwards. What are your thoughts on that, man?
The Rams beat us at our own game. The
Running the
Rams
ball.
beat the Cowboys their own game. Man, they ran the ball down their throat. Down their throat, man. Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson both rushed for over 100 yards. I mean, you got 2 backs rushing over 100 yards. I mean, you're not going to win like that. And they play solid defense. Then I'm looking at the Cowboys. Okay, we tried to run the football here, and I think Zeke finished with like maybe 40-something yards rushing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got to go with Jason Garrett, man. Whoever calling offensive plays, yeah. Like, man, look, I get criticized all the time for how I call offense. But when you on the outside and when you watching, man, you can see a lot of things that if you kind of know the game a little bit. Man, we were running the football with the Cowboys. We're running Zeke on 4th and 1 against probably one of the best D lines in the NFL on zone plays on 4th and 1, and we're zoning away from Aaron Donald. We're running the zone away from him, where Aaron Donald is crashing straight down,
Right.
killing him in the backfield. They ran a lot of zone plays, man, where you see the Rams, man, they were running just straight traps with ISOs, everything right inside, just killing them up and down. We're trying to run zone, trying to be cute, getting Zeke to the edge. No, man, get him downhill. I know this is the NFL, but hey, that end up hurting us, especially against a D-line like that. You got to
Right.
run right at them.
Right.
You can't get them going side to side, man. They too quick, too big, too physical, too athletic. I mean, they was killing us. So.
I think the Rams' defensive game plan was to stop number 21.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
I think that was obvious because he had opportunities. 20 carries, 47 yards. You can't say that they wasn't running him. Maybe they wasn't calling the right plays for him, but he had opportunities. When you finish a game averaging a little bit over 2 yards a carry, how often should you expect to continue to touch the rock? Now, I don't know if that's more of a Zeke problem or if that's a O-line problem or a play calling problem, but it definitely ended up being a problem because when the Dallas Cowboys run game is non-existent, man, it's the offense's moves at a snail's pace. I don't think Dak had a bad game. I don't think he had a bad game. He had the 1 touchdown to Cooper, and it showed some flashes of light early in the game. But after that, that was it.
That was it.
That was it. I think the other kid, what's the other receiver's name? Was it Gallup or something like that?
Running open all game.
Yeah, man, and like I said, that's showing my true colors, man. I don't even know all the Dallas Cowboy players, but he had a good catch, but it just didn't seem to me as if the Dallas Cowboys could move the ball consistently on offense.
Couldn't, and you can't put all the blame on the offense because the same thing that we, gave big props to last week, the Dallas Cowboy defense
Right.
was getting ran through this
man.
past weekend.
Oh, man, look,
getting ran through.
I'm going to tell you something, man, that I'm surprised I didn't get a little bit more press coverage. Did you see how that linebackers coach was going off on his linebackers?
I didn't get a chance to see
Man,
that.
he was animated. He was in their ass, man. And he's basically telling these guys, they're running the ball down our throat. You guys have to make a play. You guys have to make a play. I watched the one play when Gurley, man, he made a jump cut, man, and he got out of there so quick. And it's like, where the damn linebackers at?
He was on his ankles. I saw him. He got twisted up.
Look, man, I haven't watched much NFL football this year. All right? I got some personal reasons why I wasn't really supporting the NFL the way that, a lot of folks have. But, because of this show, I got to look at some NFL games, right? When I looked at the Rams offense and they said Anderson, I'm like, who the hell is Anderson? And then I got to go all the way back to think who this Anderson guy is. I'm like, this dude's still in the league.
Because his body looked different now.
Man, but this dude is literally running all through the Dallas defense.
He just signed with the Rams a couple of weeks ago when Malcolm Brown went down.
Mm.
When Malcolm Brown went down, they picked him up. And you're right. He ran all through him, man.
Hey, that goes to show, man. If you got some heart and some desire, man, you can make it. Because the dude got to be at least, 30-something years old, man?
You know, the last I remember is winning the Super Bowl with the Broncos,
Right.
Peyton Manning years ago. I haven't seen him since until this past weekend.
And this guy comes in, like you said, a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and honestly, at times it looked like he was a feature back.
Right.
I know they got Todd Gurley, and there's been arguments all year that Gurley was one of the best running backs, if not the best in the league. Well, watching that game, man, it didn't even seem as if Gurley was the main guy.
Right. Right.
You know, it's goal line, and they got Anderson in the game. Where's Gurley at?
Making
You know?
plays. Yeah.
So,
They were able to rest Gurley, man, for next week.
right.
They was able to rest
Well,
him.
I don't know the way Anderson was playing, man. He may get a lot more burn next week too.
He deserved it.
But man, that was a good game, man.
Yeah,
That was a good game. Now I'm gonna tell you one of the games that that I didn't enjoy watching the game, but because the game it wasn't interesting to me, you know. But I like Tom Brady. I like Belichick. I can't say that I like the Patriots, but I like those two individuals.
Winners.
Proven, right?
Yes.
I'm not willing to say that Tom Brady is the best ever. Y'all know what my loyalty lies in that. Joe Montana,
Yeah,
my
he got
guy,
it.
you know.
Yeah.
But you got to give credit where credit is due. All right. So when I'm looking at this Chargers and Patriots game, I'm trying to figure out how the Patriots are always in the top 4 teams of the NFL when it comes down to money time. How do they consistently do that?
What you just said. What you just said a few minutes ago.
With Belichick and Brady?
Belichick and Brady. Belichick and Brady.
Man, look, I'm watching the game. I see Gronk had, I think, maybe 1 catch, man. So you can't say that, that he has the best tight end anymore because Gronk is aging quickly. I don't even know how old Gronk is, man, but he's been hurt a lot, right?
A lot. Look, man. But what you just said with Brady and Belichick. Here's the thing, man. Every year, it's a different group of guys around there, but those 2 guys are always there.
Right.
And like you said, they always find a way to be in the Final Four.
Right.
Man, this is their 8th straight AFC Championship game. 8 years in a row, man, they'd have been in the AFC Championship. Man, that's hard to do,
Look, I'm telling you, I'm looking at the stats. All right. Sonny Michel, it's a rookie, ain't he?
Rookie out of Georgia.
Edelman. This guy consistently puts up numbers. I don't know how. I don't think he's one of the most talented guys, but he finds a way to get open. Now, James White, 15 receptions, 97 yards. Who is James White? I mean, am I mistaken? Like I said, I haven't watched NFL that much this year.
Running back.
But I don't know who this guy is.
But see, it's a lot of guys on that Patriots roster that do big things at big times.
Right.
That you don't even know those names.
It's my whole point.
Yeah.
It's my whole point.
Right.
You don't need the big-time names when you play with the Patriots. Brady is going to find who's ever open. And if you leave him open and you don't show him no respect, he'll keep going to him. 15 receptions for James White. You said he's a running back, right?
Running back.
He found a weakness, and he exploited it. They ended up getting a win. Now, honestly, I don't think the Chargers was great. It was a feel-good story. Has Phillip Rivers ever won a big game?
No, but this would have been the year for him, man. The Chargers playing good football. Fred.
Okay.
They were playing good football. But here's the thing, man. This just shows how great Tom Brady is. When you say he's not the best all time behind Joe Montana, I disagree, man. You got to put him as the best. And, man, I'm not a Brady fan.
Right.
I don't like it at all. But, man, he's the best to ever do it. Look, he went 34 for 44 for 343 yards. The Chargers played with 7 DBs on the field, man. They played with 7 DBs on the field, and he was able to still put up numbers like that.
Right.
You seem like the rushing attack would have been more effective with playing against 7 DBs. Man, he still threw for damn near 400 yards against 7 DBs.
Right.
I mean, what more can you say?
So we're going to get into predictions a little bit later. But if Brady gets to the Super Bowl and they don't win, do you still believe he's the greatest of all times?
Yes.
Even with all the losses that he has.
Yeah, but he still got wins too. He got a lot of wins too, you know. So, I mean, the reason why, it's not because of how many Super Bowls he's won. It's the overall body of work and what he works with every year is what I'm saying. I mean, he have a different group of receivers other than Edelman. And he have a different group of guys that come in every year. Different backs, different linemen. Hell, they got coaches that leave every year and have to bring in new coaches because of the success they're having. Guys want to go out and get them.
Right.
So, I mean, he's working with a different group or a different team all over every year. But he still finds a way. Him and Belichick find a way to get them, like you said, in that Final Four of the NFL every year. You know.
Now, I would tell you this, man. Like I said, I like Brady. I'm a Brady fan. I don't think Brady's having to do as much this year as he's done in previous years to help these guys win. All right, now I've watched him throughout the playoffs. You know, he definitely seems a little bit slower. I think, you know, his age is starting to catch up with him. But the one thing that he has over any quarterback left in the playoffs is this up here. He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. You look at his body, you know, he done got kind of flabby a little bit. You know, he ain't never been just yoked up or nothing. Slow as molasses. But this right up here will kill you. James White and Edelman combined for like 24 of his 34 completions. He's finding guys that are open to help them move the ball down the field. The way that they jumped out on the Chargers, I knew the game was over in the second quarter, man.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I'm like, man, if they can score this amount of point this quickly, I think they'll give any team a run for their money.
Go 21 in the second quarter alone.
Right.
Look, I was hanging out with Trent Richardson, man, this weekend. And we were talking about this Chargers-Patriots game.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I was, you know, giving him my opinions on it. And this is Trent, exact words, and his reaction. Boy, Brady in them playoffs, though, you don't want to see him.
Right.
You don't want to see him in the playoffs. He said it goes to another level. And you know what? Man, he showed that yesterday.
He did.
Man. He showed that yesterday. You know. You know how we was talking about predictions and was Alabama set up and they're being the favorite and all this and that? It's no different, man. Alabama is the NCAA's version of the New England Patriots. You know they always going to be there.
They're going to be there.
You know they're going to be there. And is it always an upset? People are going to take it that way when they lose. Like Patriots right now, 11-5. Chargers 12-4. I mean, I'm Chargers. Well, the Chargers was, I think, 13-3 or 12, something like that.
I don't know what they were.
And the Chiefs are, I think, 12. Regardless, I think Chiefs are one game up over the Patriots. Is it going to be an upset if the Chiefs beat if the Patriots beat the Chiefs? Would that be an upset? Absolutely.
I don't think it would be an upset. Yeah, but you know, with that young gun at quarterback with the Chiefs, Mahomes, you know, I don't think he'd do a touchdown this past game, did he?
Mahomes? He didn't throw a touchdown.
Yeah, so he didn't throw a touchdown, but the Chiefs still won the game handily. So can you imagine how they're going to be once he is, you know, airing that ball out? You know, so, but anyway, the Colts, like I said, we're not going to give the Colts too much airtime today. The Chiefs were the better team.
That wasn't the ball game.
They won, you know. Now, look, we're going to save the best for last. The Saints and the Eagles last night.
Hell of a ball game, man. Hell of a ball game. Eagles came out, jumped out on them quick.
I thought it was over with.
I thought it was over. I felt like, okay. I'm wrong when I say I thought it was over. I knew the Saints were gonna fight back, but I felt like the Eagles was gonna keep me. I mean, they was playing confident, man. They was playing with confidence, and I felt like the Eagles had a good chance to win that ball game. But hey, you know, when you talk about Tom Brady, Drew Brees in this era is right behind him. Does he have the championship? No, he just got one. Is he there consistently in the playoffs? No, he's not. But man, he puts up numbers. He puts up numbers, and you know, he did just enough he needed to do last night to get his team the victory.
The thing that sticks out in my mind about that game was how quickly the Eagles jumped out on top. They scored 14 unanswered points to start the game off. They didn't score again after that. You know, they kind of got a little quarterback controversy brewing. You know,
which is crazy to me.
Nick Foles, Carson Wentz. If you were the general manager of that team, what quarterback are you going with? Because they're going to let one of them go.
Right, but they're going to go with Carson Wentz because they paid him all that money.
Right,
but
have
Nick
no choice.
Yeah, but Nick Foles he's proved it. Nick Foles won you a Super Bowl last year. Man, the loss last night was definitely not on Nick Foles. I mean,
Jeffries.
It wasn't on Nick Foles.
Was it on Alshon Jeffries with the miss pass?
You can't just blame him either because you scored 14 points quick and weren't able to score any more all game. So in the game you should have been able to score more points before then. But he did blow that opportunity. Alshon Jeffries blew that opportunity. He took that away from him.
Right.
Because Nick Foles put the ball right in his hands. Now the thing is this, the Carson Wentz Nick Foles situation. Look, man, you gotta go back and look at both of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz on the field. Man, 90% of Carson Wentz balls going to Zach Ertz, man. That's who he's throwing to the tight end. Nick Foles utilized all those guys, man. He throw the ball to everybody. You know, it wouldn't even be a question with me if I was the general manager or the head coach of that team, man. Nick Foles would be my guy. But like we said, they paid Wentz all that money. You know, hopefully Nick Foles will find him a home where he can. It's several teams that need a quarterback right now.
It'll be a high commodity. You know, he's some, predictions. Right now, man, I'm 1-0. You 0-1.
You 1-0.
You got a chance to, take the lead. So I'm gonna let you select first.
It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough right now. I'm gonna do the prediction on the Patriots and Chiefs game.
Okay.
And I know on paper and what you've seen all season, everybody go with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going with what I know, man. I'm going with the guys that's proven. Patriots gonna win that ball game, man, to be in the Super Bowl this year.
Give me a score on it.
It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
I say 38-31 Patriots.
Okay. All right. Just like the Alabama-Clemson game, you're going to be wrong on this one. All right. I'm a Tom Brady, Belichick fan. Their luck runs out next week. All right. Gronk is just a shell of himself right now. I don't know if the Patriots defense is going to be able to handle Mahomes in the air and the Kansas City running game. I think Andy Reid is probably one of the most underrated coaches in the NFL. I think he's going to have his team prepared. And I'm looking at this one as a lopsided victory for the Chiefs, man.
I got you. Can I make one point on that?
Go ahead.
Belichick, Andy Reid. Belichick's been there several times.
He has.
He always advanced. Andy Reid's been there several times. He always choked.
This is a year that he overcomes the obstacle.
Okay.
All right. I see the Patriots 10, Chiefs 35.
Man, you think the Patriots gonna get blew out like that?
I think the Patriots
in an AFC championship game? Well, Alabama did in the national championship, so maybe you're right, man.
My prediction.
I'm gonna stick with my pick.
35 to 10. Kansas City Chiefs.
I got you. What about this Saints and Rams? Who you got in that one?
Oh man, okay. Ooh, this is a tough pick for me right here because man, the Rams look almost unbeatable right now. From what I've seen, the Saints showed some vulnerability last night. If the Rams jump out on the Saints the way that the Eagles jumped out on the Saints don't come back. The Rams have just enough offense on the ground and through the air to where, man, they can make this a hell of a game. So with that being said, I'm going with the Rams. My score prediction, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go Rams 27, Saints 18. 18-27 for the Rams.
Okay. Well, hey, the recipe the Rams got right now, they are built to win a championship. You win playing defense and running the football.
Right.
I got the Rams as well. I don't think the Saints going to have enough to beat them. Even though they're playing in New Orleans or whatever, man, the Rams go down to New Orleans, man, they're going to put it on them. I don't think it's going to be a close ball game. I think the Rams going to run away with them. I really do. I can't even give you a score. I think it's going to be so ugly. I think it's going to get ugly for the Saints.
It's going to be one of those games,
It's going to be one of those games. And I'm putting the Rams and the Patriots in the Super Bowl, with the Rams beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with. I'm going that far ahead right now.
So you got the Rams winning the Super Bowl. Okay, right. So we'll revisit that next show. I will say this. I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl, but I got the Rams and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and it really is just going to depend on, I think, how well both those teams play in these divisional championship games.
He said the Rams got, hey, man, the Rams on paper. You know what I'm saying? And not only on paper, these guys played up to their name this past week. Maybe they've been waiting all season for this time. You know, Rams were there last year. I think they made it to the NFC Championship game last year, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry. They got beat. They lost to the Eagles, I think. But it was a close ball game.
Right.
But everybody expected them last year to make a deeper push than what they did. Maybe that's on their mind, man. They don't want to, they don't want to choke this year, man. And I really feel like that the Rams has the best like defense, like as far as names that you can put together, man, in the NFL. And like I said, they played up to their names this past weekend. If they do that this weekend, shit, man, the Saints ain't got a chance against them, man. As good as Drew Brees is, man, the Saints ain't got a chance against them.
All right, so Coach Mo is going with the Patriots and the Rams. I'm going with the Chiefs and the Rams. All right, so there you have it as far as the predictions for the conference championship games. All right. So, man, what else we got to talk about today, man? What's on your mind?
It's been on my mind for a minute, man, this whole R. Kelly situation. We're going to get away from sports for a minute, man, and talk about this R. Kelly situation.
Hey, somebody told me don't touch this, man, but normally when they say that, we got to touch it, right?
You got to touch it. You got to touch it. And, I was asked the question, man, was I shocked to hear about the allegations? Man, absolutely not. I mean, in our time now, man, and not only R. Kelly, I feel like it's a lot of these entertainers is out doing a lot of things, man, that they shouldn't be.
A lot of suspect behavior out there.
Yes, a lot of suspect behavior out there. And this stuff with R. Kelly, man, I mean, I remember, man, in my younger days, they was, bringing up some of these same allegations then.
Right.
And I was always told, man, that everybody not going to tell the same lie on you. You know what I mean? That's the way I was
powerful.
taught. Everybody not going to tell the same lie. Look, if I go say something about Coach Fred, man, and if someone else say something about Coach Fred, if it's just maybe 2 or 3 of us, man, then all right, man, you know what? That could just be something we came up with and
Right.
just trying to mess over this man's name. But, man, when you have the amount of women that's coming out now, pretty much with all the same stories,
Right.
it's got to be something to it. It's got to be something to it. And you know, you can say, you know, why they wait till now, or they still deserve to be heard, man.
Right.
These women deserve to be heard. And in the world that we live in now, you guilty until proven innocent.
That's right.
You know, it's the complete reverse. So,
man, this topic has me torn in a few different directions because I'm not exactly sure how to feel about this, to be honest. You know, I think the part that saddens me about this whole ordeal the most is we all know a few R. Kellys.
mm-hmm.
They're just not on the same platform as R. Kelly. We know older guys that have been messing with younger women forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No, man, and you know, I've listened to all the stories, and you know, a lot of times, you know, when you have guys, and I can't speak on R. Kelly because I don't know him, but I do feel like he just used his position of power
Right.
to lure these girls in. But you know, you hear that these guys, they act out because something happened to them in their past life. You know, I've heard R. Kelly was molested when he was a child,
right,
and you know, you feel for him on that.
right,
You know, because nobody should have to go through that. But at the same time, man, you're a grown man now.
right,
You're a grown man. If these allegations are true, which we don't know that, we can have our opinion.
right,
I got my opinion on it, but we don't know, and we won't know until everything comes to light. But you can't use what happened to you in the past for you to go out and do wrong too. Because the same way you feel like maybe whoever molested you or whoever hurt you
right,
kind of ruined your life. The truth is, man, with who you are, in your position of power, man, the Lord still blessed you and turned you around.
That's
Look where
right.
he put you now. But what you've done is use the power and everything the Lord blessed you with to come back to ruin somebody else's life now, if these allegations are true.
right.
So, honestly, man, I can't rock with him on until I know exactly what's you know, the truth behind it.
But let me ask you this: will we ever know exactly what happened? Because don't get me wrong, I think there are credible people that have gone through this ordeal with R. Kelly, and I also think there may be some of these people out there that are jumping on the bandwagon, right, trying to get a little bit of fame or some fortune, right? But at the end of the day, I do feel as if not just R. Kelly, but anybody, you know, who's done some of the things that he's been alleged to do, you know, for one, I think they need to get help. All right. But the only way you can get help is by acknowledging what you did is wrong.
Right.
All right. I don't think I've ever heard R. Kelly say that.
You're not. R. Kelly put out a 19-minute song and said, I admit, but he don't admit to anything.
Didn't admit to nothing. Doing the song, right? I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I listened to about the first 4 minutes of it. You know, I was at the car wash and I'm like, man, let me go on and play this, man. I just kind of want to see what it is. But, you know, it was more so about people doing him wrong than him doing others wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
If you listen to the song, it was almost like he was trying to admit to some things, but jocking himself at the same time. If you listen to it, he kind of, I know it was, I can't read or whatever, but I still make hits.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, man, you're really not admitting to nothing. You still jocking yourself in this song.
Right.
And right now, at the time for you not to be doing that, man, you should be humble and in prayer. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I can tell you, as a community, right? As a community, especially the black community, we are forgiving folk, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had folks that do us wrong, you know, historically or what have you, man. And we've always found a way to forgive folks as long as they ask to be forgiven.
Right. Right.
My whole situation with R. Kelly, right? My whole situation with R. Kelly is this: if he has done these things, these alleged things, man, he needs to humble himself and ask for forgiveness. Now, where the parents at? You know, and I'm kind of torn on that too, man. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because as a youth football coach and as a president of a football and cheer organization with about 300 kids, I have a lot of parents, man, that entrust me with their kids.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
They drop them off at practice. They let us go with us on road trips. You know, it is our responsibility as mentors and as coaches, you know, to make sure that these kids are taken care of. Man, God forbid, you know, something happened to one of these kids under our watch, you know, that falls back on us. You know, so I don't have an issue with parents trusting the folks that they have their kids around. Maybe they need to do a little bit more research or whatnot. But I'm just having a hard time putting 100% of the blame on the parents.
You can't. I mean, but at the same time, you have to put part of the blame on them.
Right. All right, man. So now we got to liven it back up now, man. Because just thinking about the whole R. Kelly situation, man, is you know, on the cool. You know, that's kind of depressing to me, man. You know, I know a lot of folks is making light of it.
Yeah,
you know,
making jokes, making light of it, man. It's a serious situation. Like I said, I mean, if you got daughters,
right?
If you got nieces, man, you can only imagine. You know, you don't want to see any. You don't see grown women go through it. Definitely underage women, man. You don't want to see them have to deal with stuff like that the rest of their life. But yeah, man, let's liven it back up. Let's move on. Let's move on to what we know about the best. What we know the most.
What's that, man?
The state of youth football right now. Let's talk about the state of youth football. And I want to hear what Coach Fred thinks of the state of youth football right now.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to take some time to think about this one, man, because, you know, in my opinion, we got to get back. We got to get back to the old school way of doing things when it comes to youth football. Now it seems as if youth football is all about the bragging rights, social media, you know, who can get the most attention, all of that stuff. And I think we've gone away from the game. You know, I think we've gone away from the game. I'm kind of irritated, you know, by it, in a sense that youth football has taken us so far out of our element as coaches, parents, and it's even trickled down to the players, to where, man, the game is no longer about the game. It's the before and after, the build-up, and everything that transpires after the game. I don't think too many people actually pay attention to the game, right? As soon as the game is over with, you know, people running to social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, all right? Before the game, you got all the trash talking. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You know, so it's just, to me, it's just led me to a place to where, man, I want to take football back to the way that it used to be, to where you can have a competitive game, but still some humility behind it. You can have two teams, man, literally go out there and try to tear each other's heads off, but still have enough respect before and after the game to say, hey, man, great game. You know, I don't know if that's possible, but the way a lot of these organizations are run nowadays, but I would love to see it be able to go back to those days.
Yeah, I would too, but it's gonna be tough, man. Like I said, I think that with the position that me and you and a few other guys are in, we would have to be the guys to step up to try to get it to go back to what. And honestly, man, and I'm just sitting here and be 100%, bro. At one point, we were part of the problem.
Yeah,
we were part of it. You know, the state of youth football right now, I'm telling you, I feel like it is no youth football anymore. It's too far gone. Right now, what we are running an entertainment / it's almost like it's the NFL for children.
Right.
I sit and I look at some of the things, man. I hear about some of the stuff. I'm like, man, we both a part of it. You know, we are some pretty big names in youth football. All the time, man. It's more like you said, the social media or the what we can do to tear down this man or this program.
Right.
Now, other than let's pick these kids up, let's develop them, let's get them where they need to be to get them on to the next level. Man, the truth be told, I hate it. Man, at one point I loved it. Right. I think my passion outweighed everybody's passion in it. And now, man, I feel like sometimes I even question myself to say, hey, man, am I really giving these kids everything that I'm supposed to be giving them right now? Because it's been so much taken out of me with seeing where it's going. Youth football, man, I think now the adults has made it or have in their minds that that's all they are and that's all that we are. Right. It's youth football. You know, youth football is going to define our lives. Right. It's going to define who we are. Man, I got a family. You know what I mean? If all I'm gonna have about a life is being coach more than youth football coach, right? Then hey, man, I lived a pretty shitty life, man. Right. You know what I mean? But not only that, that shit is rubbing off into their kids now, man. Right. When I look on social media, man, I see kids, yeah, man, I did this or I'm doing that. Man, I got a player and several players, man. We coached several of them. And these players honestly feel like they are public figures. Right. You know, that's what they feel like. Man, I've been on the show. You've been on the show. I ain't nobody's public figure. Right. I'm Maricus Goodlow, man, from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, man. The same dude I was when I was coaching Willie Green youth football all the way now to San Antonio Outlaw football. But that's the mindset that I think everybody has to go back to, man. Look, man, we are normal people. We're out here trying to just get kids better. And that's the only thing that's going to fix youth football, that we have to go back and realize, man, that we are not celebrities. We are not stars. We are we Fred and Maricus. Right. And I'm not saying that's how, you know, because I don't think that we act like that. I don't think we act like that. But at one point, man, I do feel like we was part of that problem. We was part of it.
Well, let me say this. I mean, I think we played a pretty pivotal role in the way that youth football transitioned into something bigger than youth football. When I say bigger than, I'm talking about as far as logistically. You know, before that show came around, you know, pretty much, man, you just kind of played in your sandbox. Mm-hmm. You know, you was cool with playing your local teams, and if you played a couple of teams outside of your area, you know, that was icing on the cake. You know, Friday Night Tykes was a very successful show. And to be honest, I'm still kind of amazed at how successful the show was. We haven't recorded an episode in that show in, what, 3 years? Yeah. But yet and still, we're still recognized pretty much everywhere we go. So that show touched a lot of folks. And I think it created a lot of monsters, because everybody said, man, why not me? Why not this team? Why not this organization? Why not this league? Why not this city? You got a lot of clowns in youth football, man. You know, some of these folks ain't coaches. You know, hell, some of them ain't even parents, man. They just hang around the youth football platform, you know, as far as, you know, like, come on, man. Like, and they're there just to create issues. You know, we have to start calling those guys out for who they are, whether they be a coach, a parent, a spectator, whatever. If we start calling these guys out, you know, I think it allows us to clean up youth football.
Yeah, because people be quick to call us out on things that they think they know what's going on. We got to start doing the same thing, like you said. Now, I'm kind of torn between this when I think about fixing youth football. Because, man, it's a lot of things. I'm not going to say fix it, but it's a lot of things that we need to change to get it back to where it was at. Because it's not broken, but because it's still in existence. But man, we don't treat it like it's youth football anymore.
Right.
Man, I try not to be negative. Like I said, I
Mhm.
try not to be negative. I try to stay positive. But man, as I've said several times, right now, man, the state of youth football, man, it is so far gone. It's gonna take a lot more than Coach Fred and Coach Rodriguez to try to get it back to what we were used to doing before that TV show aired.
Well, I mean, I definitely think that we've taken some positive strides when it comes to youth football, and we just got to keep pushing the needle. Every season is another opportunity for us to network with various organizations around the country, around the state, around our city, so that we can, work together to make youth football great again. So man, I am optimistic about it because we've had some great opportunities. We've met a lot of great folks, and there are people out there still doing it the right way.
Right.
What I'm going to encourage everyone that runs a youth football program to do is, man, start calling out the BS, man. If you're playing somebody, man, that's playing an organization that's not on the up and up when it comes to respecting the game, respecting the players, the coaches, parents, whatever, man, call them out. I think if we do that, I think eventually we get back to where we need to be at. Not, when I say call them out, I don't mean in a physical manner, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
it's just
right.
more so like, hey, man, we can be better than
Respectfully,
that.
man.
We can be better than that,
Yeah.
When you win, man, win with style. If you lose, man, lose with class. You put the style and the class together, we straight,
All we gotta do is stop making it a Bloods versus Crips, Hatfield versus McCoys
Right.
type deal, and just make it a brotherhood, man. If we're able to do that, man, we always say we all out there for the same
Right.
reason. Some of us not. And like I said, man, do I think that I've done everything perfect in you? Absolutely not.
Right.
But I do think I made a lot of changes and continuing to grow
Right.
and make changes to get better, man, year after year after year. And I think if we all do that, if everybody do that, man, I think it's gonna benefit the kids a lot more than what we giving them right now, man. You know what I mean?
Hey, let's make youth football fun again.
Hey, I'm gonna give me a hat like Trump, man.
But
Youth football great again.
There you go. Hey, I'll sport it, but I'm not gonna wear the little wrinkled up one he wear though, man. Mine gotta have a little shape to it or whatever, man. So, hey, well look, I tell you what, man, it was a great show. I think we had some great content today. I think we covered a vast array of topics that were interesting to our viewers. What should they expect next week?
Next week, man, we'll discuss the AFC Championship, NFC Championship games. Also next week, man, is MLK
Yeah.
holiday celebration.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that, talk about a little Black history, and
So next week, definitely stay tuned. We got a lot of hot topics for you. Make sure that you subscribe to our page, like our content. We got another great show next Tuesday. Every Tuesday is you can look forward to this every Tuesday, man.
next Tuesday at 7 p.m.